Imagine you've just spent 3 consecutive nights fueled by, I don't know, nothing but cheap energy drinks, stale pretzels, and just sheer unadulterated terror.
Oh yeah, the classic midnight panic.
Exactly. You've been grinding away in the dark to birth this spreadsheet. But not just any spreadsheet. We are talking about a financial model so beautiful, so meticulously organized.
Pivot tables so elegant they belong in a museum.
Right. Formulas so complex they could literally make a grown accountant cry tears of joy. And you finally finish it, you send it off at like 3 in the morning, and then Monday morning rolls around, it's the weekly team meeting.
The absolute scene of the crime.
Yes, you are sitting there under those harsh fluorescent lights, probably still sleep deprived, just blinking away the exhaustion, and Kevin from sales stands up.
Always a Kevin.
Always. He boots at the projector, and suddenly, there it is on the wall, your beautiful, hard-earned spreadsheet. But Kevin is presenting it to the executive team as if he personally carved it out of stone over the weekend.
Just soaking it all in.
He is gesturing at your data, nodding at management, and taking absolute, unapologetic ownership of your sleepless nights.
It is the ultimate office cage match, right there in conference room B.
Yeah.
And you are basically watching a real-time heist.
It makes my blood pressure rise just thinking about it. And honestly, that scenario is exactly our mission for this deep dive today. We are doing a strategic breakdown of what to do when someone outright steals your shiny, hard-earned credit.
Because it happens to everyone.
It really does. So we're going to explore 2 wildly opposing philosophies for handling this kind of workplace theft. You've got your instant confrontation on one side versus quiet, systemic retaliation on the other.
The contrast there is huge.
Right. And ultimately, we have to figure out if our own desperate need for validation is secretly, sabotaging our careers in these crucial high-stakes moments.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because the way the human body reacts when a Kevin steals your slide is intensely physical. It's not a slow realization. It hits you like a freight train. Oh, it is an entirely visceral, whole body experience. It is not a logical or analytical event in that first second. Your autonomic nervous system just completely takes over.
The physiological description from the source material is fascinating. Your heart rate spikes immediately.
Yep.
Your face turns hot. The blood literally rushes to your ears, and you get that crazy tunnel vision. It's a primal fight-or-flight response. Your brain is reacting exactly the same way it would if you were, say, encountering an apex predator out in the wild.
Which is wild to think about.
Right. But instead of a saber-toothed tiger, the predator is just Kevin in a quarter-zip sweater holding a laser pointer.
Which sounds completely absurd until you look at the evolutionary psychology behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, why does the human brain equate a stolen PowerPoint slide with a physical threat to your life?
Yeah, why is the reaction so extreme?
Because for hundreds of thousands of years of human history, your status within the tribe directly dictated your access to resources.
Oh, wow.
If you were pushed down the social hierarchy, you literally didn't get to eat. You didn't get protection. Social isolation or a drop in status meant death.
That makes so much sense.
So today, when Kevin stands up and claims your work, your brain isn't thinking, oh, a minor professional setback. Your amygdala is screaming, I am being pushed out of the tribe. I am going to starve.
That explains so much about why the anger feels so completely uncontrollable. Your brain registers a lethal threat to your resources. And when all that adrenaline floods your system, you are immediately faced with a fork in the road, right? You have a fraction of a second to make a choice.
And the stakes of that choice are incredibly high. You have to decide, basically in real time, whether you are going to act in a way that makes you look like a strategic mastermind or react like a toddler who just had their favorite toy snatched away on the playground.
Okay, wait, let me push back on that toddler comparison for a second. Because the instinct, driven by that sudden physiological spike, that heat in your face, the instinct to fight back, feels incredibly justified.
Sure, it feels justified in the moment.
Like, if I don't say something right now, I feel like a total doormat. Aren't we supposed to defend our territory? Which brings us to the first philosophy we need to talk about. The purists of direct confrontation.
Right, the purists. They operate on a very straightforward moral compass.
Mm-hmm.
They treat credit theft like someone just lit a fire in the building. You don't ignore a fire. You pull the fire alarm immediately.
Yes. And in the conference room, pulling that fire alarm looks like interrupting Kevin mid-sentence. You don't wait for a polite pause. You just cut him off, look him dead in the eye, and deliver the strike.
It's aggressive.
We actually have the exact script for this approach from the source. It sounds something like this. Actually, Kevin, I wrote that slide, which you'd know if you check your email.
Ouch.
Right. It is swift, it is brutal, and it leaves zero ambiguity in the room.
It does. And I imagine just reading that sentence gives you a rush of dopamine.
Oh, it feels amazing. It feels like absolute justice. You get this warm, fuzzy hug for your ego. But here is the problem, and this is where the strategy totally breaks down. That warm, fuzzy feeling lasts for exactly 3 seconds.
What's fascinating here is the immediate, disastrous psychological impact that follows that initial rush of righteous victory. Because on the 4th second, the entire atmosphere of the room drops to absolute zero.
It goes freezing cold. People start staring really intensely at their notepads.
Yeah.
Someone awkwardly clears their throat. The tension becomes unbearable. But why? If I am the one who was genuinely wronged, why does the room turn against me?
Because you disrupted the social order. Think about the psychology of the manager sitting at the head of the table.
Okay.
Managers are almost always stressed, they're behind schedule, and they are hyper-focused on group harmony and meeting momentum. In that specific moment, the manager is not pulling out a magnifying glass to investigate the forensic metadata of the spreadsheet to uncover the true author.
They don't care about the truth right then.
Exactly. The manager is reacting purely to the emotional disruption you just caused.
So by lashing out, I instantly cease to be the hardworking hero who built the beautiful model.
In the blink of an eye, you are instantly transformed into the aggressive, touchy coworker. You become the person who brings emotional fire and drama into a professional setting.
That is awful.
And the manager quietly writes you down in their mental ledger as a high-maintenance liability. You might have won the factual argument, but you completely lost the room.
That is such a painful irony. The victim becomes the villain simply by demanding justice. And meanwhile, how does the thief react? Because Kevin isn't just going to stand there and confess, right?
Of course not. Kevin is going to execute a masterclass in deflection. When you attack, you give him the perfect opportunity to play the confused, innocent lamb.
I can picture it.
He'll soften his voice, look slightly hurt, and say something like, "Oh, my apologies, I thought we were all collaborating on this as a team."
I thought we were all collaborating. Wow. Just hearing that fictional response makes my blood boil. It is the ultimate corporate gaslighting.
Right, and look at the dynamic it creates. Suddenly, Kevin looks like the reasonable, magnanimous team player who is focused on the collective we, while you look like the unhinged, territorial employee who can't share.
Okay, I see the trap. Pulling the fire alarm is a catastrophic cell phone. But if direct confrontation makes the victim the villain, how does a professional actually reclaim their work?
It takes discipline.
Because I refuse to believe the answer is just sitting there quietly while Kevin builds his career on my back. We have to pivot to the contrasting approach. We need to talk about the system players.
Yes, the system players. They operate on a completely different frequency. They do not fight in the mud because they understand that a muddy fight stains everyone involved.
Makes sense.
When Kevin stands up and starts presenting the stolen spreadsheet, they feel that same adrenaline spike. They feel the heat in their face, but they suppress the instinct to scream.
So they really just sit back and let him talk.
They let him have his awkward 3 minutes of stolen fame. They observe, and they opt instead for a quiet, polite paper trail assassination.
A light assassination. That is such a chilling, brilliant concept. Let's break down exactly how these system players execute this maneuver. Because it's not about doing nothing at all. It's about doing something highly calculated. The first method from the source is what we can call the in-meeting pivot.
This requires surgical precision. Instead of interrupting Kevin with an accusation, you wait for your opening. You keep your tone perfectly calm, even pleasant.
You don't let the anger show.
Exactly. You let him finish his point, and then you say, "Thanks for highlighting that slide, Kevin. As I was building the data model for it, I actually noticed an even bigger trend we should discuss."
Boom. Ownership reclaimed. Zero drama. Here's where it gets really interesting, though. The strategic elegance of the linguistics here. You aren't dragging the meeting backward to litigate the past.
Right.
You aren't whining, "Look what I did yesterday." You are completely anchoring yourself to the future of the project.
You are managing the momentum. Look closely at the phrasing there. As I was building the data model for it, that is a subordinate clause.
Oh, that's clever.
It embeds the truth of your authorship into the conversation, not as a point of debate, but as a casual, undeniable premise. You literally slip the fact right past everyone's defenses.
And by immediately pivoting to an even bigger trend we should discuss, you demonstrate forward-thinking leadership. You position yourself as the visionary who actually understands the deep implications of the data.
While Kevin is suddenly reduced to just being the guy who happened to read your slide out loud.
The contrast in how the manager perceives you is night and day compared to the fire alarm approach.
Completely. The manager doesn't see a touchy, high-maintenance employee. The manager sees a strategic thinker driving the business forward. You completely neutralize Kevin's theft without ever raising your voice or breaking the social harmony of the room.
It is corporate judo. You are using Kevin's own presentation momentum against him. But what if you freeze? Like, what if the adrenaline is just too much? You miss your window in the meeting and everyone packs up and leaves? Is the credit just gone forever?
Not at all. The system players have a backup maneuver that is arguably even more devastating. It skips the meeting theatrics entirely.
Oh, I love this one.
You sit through the presentation, you smile, you let Kevin take his bow, and you quietly walk back to your desk. And then you draft an email.
Yes. The strategic follow-up email. This is called calculated perfection. You draft a highly polished email summarizing the meeting and you send it directly to the boss. But the real power move isn't the body of the email, is it? It's the CC line.
The CC line is a silent weapon in corporate warfare.
It really is. You CC the entire team, everyone who was in that room. And then you attach the draft history of the document, the metadata, the raw files, the timestamps, the undeniable receipts of your labor.
The receipts never lie.
And the message you include is so painfully casual it hurts. You just write, here's the original version I created, along with some extra thoughts for phase 2.
It is brilliant because it is utterly unassailable. Think about why this works so well. It is flawlessly professional. There is no emotional fire. There is no accusation.
You aren't calling him a thief.
Exactly. You aren't demanding an apology. You are simply sharing resources and looking ahead to phase 2. It completely weaponizes corporate politeness.
But underneath that politeness, you are dropping radioactive proof of your ownership right into the middle of the team's inbox. You leave receipts that Kevin cannot possibly delete.
You can't argue with a timestamp.
No, he can't pull that core. I thought we were collaborating nonsense when the version history clearly shows you building the architecture at 3 in the morning and him opening the file for the very first time at 8:55 a.m. on Monday.
And the true beauty of this systemic retaliation is how it completely insulates your reputation while trapping the thief. If Kevin tries to hit reply all to argue or defend himself,
oh, then he looks crazy.
Exactly. He becomes the one disrupting the peace. He becomes the defensive, touchy coworker who is unnecessarily escalating a polite email. You have trapped him using the very professional system he tried to exploit.
It is a masterstroke. The contrast between these two philosophies is just staggering when you lay them out like this. I mean, the purist who demands instant justice gets a 3-second ego boost followed by long-term reputation damage.
And the system player.
The system player endures 3 uncomfortable minutes of annoyance followed by total unquestionable victory. The math is incredibly simple.
It is. The systemic approach objectively protects your reputation, reclaims your work, and subtly exposes the thief without ever making you the bad guy.
Which brings us to a really uncomfortable question. If the math is that simple and the systemic approach is so obviously superior, why is it so incredibly hard to actually keep our mouths shut in that conference room?
It's the human element.
Right. Even knowing all of this, knowing that pulling the fire alarm will hurt me, I still feel that overwhelming urge to jump out of my chair and yell at Kevin. What is the psychological flaw in us that makes us want to self-sabotage like that?
Well, this is the crux of the entire dilemma. When you drill down past the spreadsheet, past the presentation, past Kevin Bolidi, you've hit a very deep, uncomfortable truth. The real problem isn't actually Kevin stealing the work.
Wait, hold on. Kevin literally stole my 3 days of labor. How is he not the problem?
He is a catalyst. He is an obstacle. But he is not the root cause of your explosive emotional reaction. The real problem is our own fragile ego.
Oh, ouch.
It is our desperate, burning need to have everyone in that room see us being smart in the moment.
Wow. The need to be seen as smart in the moment. That hits incredibly close to home.
It is deeply ingrained human conditioning. Think about where we learn how to work. We spend our formative years in a classroom. If you do the homework, you raise your hand, the teacher calls on you, and you get the gold star right then and there in front of all your peers.
Instant validation.
Yes. The entire educational system trains us to expect an immediate public reward for our intellectual labor.
And we carry that exact same conditioning straight into the corporate world. We crave that immediate recognition. So when Kevin takes the credit, he isn't just taking a spreadsheet, he is stealing our gold star in real time.
And because we have been trained to equate that gold star with our fundamental worth, we react with raw, emotional fire. We want it back right now. The ego literally cannot bear the thought of sitting in a chair for 3 minutes while someone else receives the praise that belongs to us. We feel like we are vanishing.
Man, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the workplace is absolutely not a classroom. There are no gold stars.
Nope.
There is no teacher carefully grading everyone's individual contribution fairly.
There is only capital, social capital, political capital, and reputational capital. When we react with raw emotion just to prove we are the smartest person in the room at that exact second, we are burning our reputational capital to the ground just to satisfy our ego. We lose the room to win a momentary feeling.
Which is why high-value professionals do not throw tantrums over PowerPoint slides.
They don't. They recognize that an emotional reaction to public tantrum does exponentially more damage to their career trajectory than the initial theft ever could.
Right.
A stolen slide is a temporary, highly manageable setback. But a reputation as a volatile, high-maintenance employee, that is a permanent ceiling on your career. High-value professionals understand the difference between the micro-conflict and the macro game. They manage the system, not the moment.
They manage the system, not the moment. I genuinely need to write that on a Post-it note and stick it to my monitor.
So what does this all mean for us? For everyone listening who will inevitably have to face their own personal Kevin at some point in their career, it means we have to completely reframe our understanding of what winning actually looks like.
Precisely. Direct confrontation feels like justice. It feels like balancing the cosmic scales. But it is an illusion of justice that severely penalizes the victim.
It's a trap. Exactly. Systemic maneuvering, the polite pivot, the paper trail email, that is the strategy that actually secures your crown and builds your influence.
You have to make a conscious choice to delay your gratification. When your heart rate is spiking and the blood is rushing to your ears, it all boils down to one fundamental question. Do you want to win the argument right now, or do you want to win the game?
Winning the argument feeds the ego today. Winning the game is what gets you promoted tomorrow. But it requires a profound, almost unnatural level of self-control.
It really does. You have to be willing to swallow your pride, endure the discomfort of watching someone else take a bow, and trust in the power of the paper trail to protect your future. So, to you listening right now, we have to ask, which camp do you actually fall into?
Be honest with yourself.
Yeah, really think about it. When the adrenaline hits, do you crave that satisfying, immediate call-out? Do you want to pull the fire alarm and watch the room freeze? Or do you have the icy discipline to be a system player?
It is a difficult mirror to look into.
It is. We challenge you to reflect on whether your own need for instant validation, that desperate desire to be seen as the smartest person in the room right now, is secretly sabotaging your long-term growth. Are you letting the Kevins of the world bait you into destroying your own hard-earned reputation? Drop a comment. Share your thoughts with us, because this is a divide that exists in every single office building in every industry on the planet.
And as we wrap up this analysis, it leaves us with one final, rather provocative thought to consider. A thought that extends far beyond just our individual choices in a conference room.
Oh, let's hear it.
If the ultimate sign of a high-value professional is their ability to quietly manage the system using metadata, strategic linguistic pivots, and CC'd emails as weapons, what does it actually say about a company's underlying culture if it inadvertently forces its best, most hardworking talent to spend half their time architecting these polite assassinations just to survive the Kevins of the office?
Oof. That is a heavy, heavy thought to end on. Are we actually building great products, or are we all just spending our days building better corporate armor? Thank you for joining us as we unpacked this universal nightmare. It has been a fantastic deep dive into the sometimes dark, always fascinating realities of the modern workplace. Until next time, keep your spreadsheets safe, watch your CC lines, and remember, don't let Kevin with the laser pointer make you forget how to play the long game.